Okay, here I'm in the entry hall looking at the front door from the inside. I'm going to freeze it here and do a few traces or do a trace. Keep in mind I saw this with my eyes unaided without the use of a camera. So even if you don't make out these shapes, um, then keep in mind I still saw this noise or this projected twack with my eyes unaided. And this isn't slowed down, so you're seeing it pretty much how I saw it. It wasn't quite as colorful, but it did have color to it. But I saw all this movement, and I was like, and if you look up there, there it looks like there's an eye there, a pair of eyes now, just where I drew them before. And if you look at other areas, you'll see other eyes, or not, because they could be still projecting into my eyes or onto my phone screen right now. It's hard to tell. Again, I'm going to do a few more traces here. Again, it doesn't matter if you make out these patterns this way, but I think it's pretty obvious that this is not camera noise. And in any case, I saw it with my eyes unaided without the use of a camera. That's why I pointed the camera in that direction, because I walked into the dimly lit entry hall and it looked like there was an electrical twacky fog or mist in there, for lack of a better term, but it pretty much looked like this. Um, Slightly less colorful. And I was constantly trying to show my dad, look, I'm seeing these things. And again, I've seen these things lit up like a neon sign. Well, here's an example where like a pair of eyes and a mouth like will match up to like another eye in another face. So where like the mouth of one face will be one of the eyes of another face. That's what those are. But again, this is not slowed down. And I walked into the entry hall, and I oftentimes saw this in dimly lit rooms where it was just like all this static everywhere, all this like slightly colorful static. And again, I've seen these things as full blown 3D holograms. One looked like the icon to the bathroom sign, the men's bathroom sign, but in a running position. And one looked like a crude make of a bicycle. And I was able to walk around the icon of a man in a running position and on the sidewalk, like a half a mile away from the Grove, and the bicycle glid by me, went down the street. I saw it coming from afar, and it passed me, and it continued down. I don't believe the wheels were turning on or anything like that. It was just like looked like kind of like a stationary bike, um, and then it just like went down the street. And obviously, I didn't have my camera then. Here's some more tracings. Again, it doesn't matter if you make out these particular patterns, if you make this out, if you just think this is just random noise. I saw this with my eyes unaided without the use of a camera. I was using a Galaxy Note 8 camera. It would not produce camera noise this badly. I'm going to do a few more tracings here. And what they were mentioning gremlin because that started to look kind of like a gremlin. They like to mention Gremlin a lot because I think the nickname for Jason Berrientos was Gizmo on his Facebook and Google Plus profiles. The guy who hacked my Google account, or whose email address was used, and who had my stolen phone, or someone had my stolen phone inside his room, or right outside it, or in the room above it. So I like to mention that a lot. They try to pimp him out all the time in these fictional narratives. But I think in that one that I just did was pretty clear how the eyes have irises that you can even make out. Sometimes when I pan with the camera, the twack pans with it. That happens with my eyes sometimes as well. I don't know how they achieve this. You think if I turn my head or the camera, not that it wouldn't pan with the camera. It almost looks like there's a filter on the camera, but that happens with my eyes as well. So if my camera's not suffering from psychoses, I'm not suffering from psychoses. And again, I'm not. I don't have the power of premonition, and I don't have the power of sight beyond sight. And I hope we can rule out poltergeist as with things being knocked over and with me being pushed around physically by these electrolasers or whatever other device that they have that can literally push you or jab you, um, and literally crush you and literally push you to the point where it's like you will walk at a diagonal if they're pushing you from the side if you don't like spend some effort to stay straight, or they'll push with you, and it feels like you're on one of those flat walking sort of like those flat escalator things, the walkalators or travelators, like you see in airports. Those conveyor belt things for people. Um, there's some more tracings. Uh, and when they push against you, it feels like you're walking like against a 90-mile-an-hour wind, but without the windy feeling. But you still have that force being pushed against you. And of course, they also crush my feet and crush my back, and then narrow it down to where they're jabbing my neck or jabbing my back. They're jabbing my back right now in a couple of places by by both shoulder blades. See, in this one, you can make out the irises in the eyes on the top, on the pair of eyes above the top. And there's even one above, there's even another pair above it that you can make out. But again, even if you think this is just someone seeing random stuff, I saw with my eyes.